Well, hey guys, good morning. Pastor Steve here. Just wanted to share a brief meditation with you today. Today I've been meditating in the book of Daniel and in chapter 2. Some of you are familiar with the story of Daniel, but just give you a quick synopsis. Daniel was taken from his home country. He was as a slave after watching much of his family and friends get killed, and his city destroyed. He was taken to a foreign land, given a new name. He was castrated and put into the king's compound. And Daniel decided, along with 3 other friends, that they were going to serve the Lord. So you come to Daniel chapter 2, and Daniel's already determined that in the midst of all of this chaos and problem, he's going to serve the Lord. And in Daniel chapter 2, you hear a story about a king's dream. So the several years have gone past at this point. We don't know exactly how long, but Daniel is no longer a youth. He's considered a man. He's serving in the king's court as a slave, and he is considered to be one of the wise men, which means God's given him a level of wisdom and understanding, but he's pretty low on the totem pole. So when the king calls all the leaders of the wise men together, Daniel's not part of that. The king says, tell me this dream and this interpretation. And the men can't. They go, King, this is impossible. You're asking us to do an impossible thing. If we don't know the dream, how can we tell you the meaning of it? The king says, well, since you're just trying to lead me on and give me false information, I'm going to have you all killed. Pardon my paraphrase, but that's the short version of the story. So Daniel hears about this because he's part of the roundup, even though he's on the low end of the totem pole. And he says to the captain of the king's guard, he says, give me some time. And so they give him a day. Daniel goes before the king, asks for a day, comes back the next day, and has an answer from the Lord. He spends all night praying with his 3 friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and comes back before the king to give the interpretation. But the incredible part of the story that I was meditating on today that I just really think would be an encouragement and a blessing is Daniel's response to the king. The king says, so I hear you can give me my dream and the interpretation. And this is what Daniel says to the king. It says Daniel, verse 27 of chapter 2. It says, Daniel answered the king, no wise man, medium, diviner, priest, or astrologer is able to make known to the king the mystery he asked about. I'm going to turn the page here. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, and he has let King Nebuchadnezzar know what will happen in the last days. Your dream and the visions that came into your mind as you lay in bed were these. Your Majesty, while you were in your bed, thoughts came to your mind about what will happen in the future. The revealer of mysteries has let you know what will happen. As for me, this mystery has been revealed to me, not because I have more wisdom than anyone living, but in order that the interpretation might be made known to the king, and that you may understand the thoughts of your mind. And Daniel goes on to give the interpretation of the dream, which is really amazing. God's giving Nebuchadnezzar a vision of kingdoms of this earth that God will establish. Nebuchadnezzar is the most impressive of those. But there are others that are referenced, going through the Medo-Persian, the Greeks, and the Romans, down to a weekly held 10 group nation or that rules the earth. And then it's all smashed by God's kingdom. But Daniel's explanation to the king is truly amazing because he puts all of the emphasis on God and God being the one who is doing this. He says there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. And he says, as for me, verse 30, this mystery has been revealed to me not because I have more wisdom than anyone living, but in order that the interpretation might be made known to the king. You see, God wanted the king to recognize that the God of Daniel was the God who knew the future. and the God who revealed mysteries. He was more powerful than the false gods of the Chaldeans and any of the other soothsayers or nations. So Daniel, in recognition of his position before God, after being taken captive, after being faithful to God through all that he had gone through, when the time comes for Daniel to be in the spotlight, he says, "This is not because of me. It is because God has chosen to make this known to you." That level of humility and focus on the Lord is truly a powerful and needed meditation for me. And I hope it's an encouragement and a challenge as well to you. But I hope you have a great day in the Lord. God bless you. Go in peace.